Let's usher in Isaac Kofi Adjei. He's our in-house, I call him our in-house government statistician.
Absolutely, the guy has all the numbers.
What can you tell us about this levy and what it means for us?
Well, if you are waking up and you possibly didn't hear what happened yesterday, there is a new levy in town. It's not relatively new, but I mean, that, tax handle has been revised. And in terms of the quantum of, levies you pay, that's actually gone up by 1 Ghana cedis. And that's what we are going to analyze for you. And it's going to be on the export price of fuel, or the diesel, the petrol you buy at the pumps. That's where this new tax is going to settle. Already, Ghanaians are complaining that, look, we are not at fair value yet, and so we don't see the reason why a revision in terms of upward revision should come around this time. Now, the key question is, many have said that, look, the finance minister, when he was reading the 2025 budget, didn't indicate this in the 2025 budget, but maybe you didn't take notice. That was in the budget where the finance minister requested or told the Speaker of Parliament that he will be submitting 10 acts for review, and the Energy Sector Levy Act 2015 was part of those 10 levies that he, or 10 tax handles that he sought reviews to. And maybe you didn't know that the entire ESLA package, what we call ESLA, is what we are talking about. And ESLA, we know, is the baby of former Finance Minister Seth Terkper, and he actually trained, his deputy, Dr. Attoforsen, who is now the current Finance Minister. And he is saying that, look, let's go back or let's revisit ESLA. And under ESLA, we should know that currently, when it was introduced, there were about 4 taxes under ESLA. Now we are talking about 6 taxes under the new ESLA that we have. And one of them is going to be revised. That is the Energy Sector, Debt Recovery Levy. That is what we are going to analyze. And look, if you buy fuel today, every liter of fuel you buy, whether petrol or diesel, you pay 10 taxes, as you can see on the smartwatch. 10 different taxes and levies on every fuel that you buy. Many have said that the tax handles alone is about 40% of the price that we pay. And if the price continues to drop, that means that the component of tax handle in terms of the percentage terms will actually increase. Now, if you look at these 10 taxes that we are talking about and levies, it means that every liter that you buy, on the average, you pay around 3 cedis, 26 pesos as taxes. And look, this law has been passed, which means that instead of 3 cedis, 26 pesos, you're going to pay somewhere around 4 cedis, 26 pesos. And many have said that, why should it be on a liter, but not on the gallon? If you used to buy 40 liters, it means that every 40 liter that you buy, you pay about 40 Ghana cedis as taxes. Now, this is the breakdown. Just try and understand this, because it's law now. The GRA will start implementing, MPA will start implementing it very soon. This is where it's going to be. There is one that we were definitely not expecting the government to actually put this tax on, and that's LPG. LPG will stay the same, but fuel, in terms of petrol and diesel, will move. Petrol, for instance, will move from that tax handle 95 pesos to 1 cedi, 95 pesos. Diesel will also move from 93 pesos to 1 cedi, 93 pesos. And this is a tax handle that we are actually talking about. And so if you really want to know how much you'll be paying, this is what we've summarized for you on the smart wall. What will not be affected will be LPG, but if you buy diesel or petrol, you should expect. Now, the finance minister gave reasons why they are actually calling for this review, have actually initiated this review, or this law has been passed. And this is because they've been looking at this data and saying that, look, if you go on the international market, crude prices are actually falling, where we've moved from somewhere around, some time ago it was around $100 per barrel. Now we've moved to about $64, $61, or $65 per barrel. And that is not at fair value yet. We are far away from the normal hundreds we used to pay. And so they expect fuel prices or crude prices to come down. And they're definitely saying that, look, this windfall that we are all experiencing, give us 1 cedi out of that. we're trying to look at Goil's prices, and this is how Goil's prices have actually fared since February 2024 to date. And we know there's a revision where it's between 11 cedis, 77 pesos, and maybe 12 cedis, 50 pesos. But what we are trying to tell you is that fuel prices have been very high before, but now the government is saying that because of the appreciation of the cedi, we are seeing fuel prices going down. And so if you used to buy from Goil, from beginning of the year, you've saved about 2 cedis, 47 pesos. And that's government is saying that the gains we've already had, we are taking 1 cedi out of it. We are expecting that the prices should go down significantly from the 12 cedis or below 11 cedis, maybe in the next pricing window. But the key question is, why do you impose a levy when the data shows that we are not at fair value yet? Look, if you look at this chart, what you will see is that from 2022 to 2024, there was actually an outlier in terms of the rate at which fuel prices were going up in the country. That's when we had the global crisis, and Ghana itself had its economic crisis in 2022, 2023, called for an IMF program and all of that. You can see how fuel prices actually move. This is from the Energy Commission, and this data shows you that we are currently not at fair value. When we say fair value, what do we mean? If you look at this chart, we should be expecting fuel prices to be around 8 cedis, 50 pesos. So we are not around 8 cedis, 50 pesos now. So why are we still around 12 cedis and government wants to impose a new tax? That is a question people are asking. That if you look at this chart, fair value should be around 8 cedis, 50 pesos. We are not there yet. So why don't you wait for us to get to single digits? Let's say 8 cedis or 8 cedis, 50 pesos before you start talking about new taxes. You've imposed new taxes, but what if we don't get to fair value? What are you going to do to the consumer? Are you going to take that tax from the price builder? And that's one of the questions that people are asking. But, there was another reason given by the finance minister, and he's been explaining that it's not because of the legacy debt, but it's important to point out that this is how much we are owing as energy sector debt. $3.1 billion US. Very, very huge. And just about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, the president indicated that energy sector debt was around 2.5 billion. Now the finance minister has given an update saying that 3.1 billion. So within a very short period of time, and it's even as of March 2025, it could be more. And the government has been complaining about how much it pays as shortfalls to support the energy sector. In 2024 alone, shortfalls was around $1.46 billion that government had to pay, around 26 or 30 billion Ghana cedis, so that we all get lights. That is where government doesn't want to go. It's saying that if you look at the current generation capacity of the country, we've moved from hydro. Now about 70% of our generation mix comes from thermal, which means that every year we need to look for money to buy fuel. And if you look at the Energy Commission's report in terms of the energy sector outlook, the average has been around $1.2 billion to buy fuel or to power the plant. And that's where the finance minister is saying that, look, the government cannot be paying for that fuel that we use to power the thermal plant. So why don't we, have a levy that will cater for that? But the question is, these levies will be in cedis. So if the dollar has really fallen to the cedi, then people are asking, then it means that, ECG's cost is going to reduce because ECG pays IPPs and fuel suppliers about $50 million every month. That $50 million, its value in cedi has been reduced. So why do we need another tax if the value or the cost that ECG is paying to IPPs in terms of fuel has reduced? Why don't we start talking about consolidation right now and not taxes? And we are looking at ESLA. We made mention of ESLA at the beginning of the presentation, that this new levy that we are talking about is not a new levy. The tax, the ESLA tax has about 6 different tax handles under it, and the energy sector debt recovery levy is one of them. Since 2017, we've been trying to check how much has government actually collected from ESLA, which is supposed to save us from some of these energy sector crisis at this point that we are in. ESLA was introduced somewhere 2015, 2016. And if you do the math from 2017 to 2024, in fact, we've collected about 29.2 billion Ghana cedis as ESLA, inflows. So why have we not been able to solve our energy sector crisis with the ESLA inflows? The answer is in the next slide. This is because if you look at the energy sector recovery, levy, the energy sector debt recovery levy, which has now been, modified a bit, this is how much we get from that side. It's about, on average, $2.5 billion every year. And this year we are targeting $3.1 billion at the end of 2025. Then you say that if this is the inflow compared to how much we are paying as shortfalls, then definitely this cannot close the gap that we are looking for. So possibly the reason why government has decided to revise the levy by 1 cedi. Because if you look at this chart, although inflows have been coming in, and since 2017 we've been able to rake in some 29 billion Ghana cedis, that alone cannot afford a year's shortfall, because we are going, or actually entering into paying shortfalls around $36 billion every year. And the World Bank has said that, look, if we continue to do business as usual in our energy sector, shortfalls could hit $8 billion by 2025, 2026. So maybe the government has looked at all this data and is saying that, then why don't we introduce, or why don't we vary the levy a bit, so that, although we are collecting ESLA and we are collecting the energy sector debt recovery levy, why don't we vary it so that the inflows could be more to actually close the shortfalls? Because if you do the math, the shortfalls is actually averaging around 30 billion Ghana cedis every year. And there's money that government would have to cough up almost every year to keep our lights on. But we've been collecting so many energy levies. But the question is, where is the money? Why have we not been able to solve the energy sector crisis? And the answer is simple. It's because of the fluctuations we've seen in the forex market. So we may be collecting more, but when the cedi misbehave, ECG's cost would have to increase. So another question, if the cedi is appreciating and ECG cost is expected to come down, and in terms of how much we pay to IPPs and fuel suppliers, $50 million almost every month, that money in cedis has been reduced. So why do we need another levy? But it's not a new levy. It's been there. It's under the ESLA. And if you didn't see it in the budget, know that it was actually in the budget. The finance minister requested that Parliament allows him to make a revision to 10 acts. And the ESLA, or the Energy Sector Levy Act, was one of them.
Kofi.